Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here, and welcome to my review for Power Rangers Dimensions in Danger, the 25th there we go, anniversary special for Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel, and obviously the franchise in general. I'm in a bit of a different location. I think I filmed at least one other video on this before. This is like my dining room area. I'm recording this a bit later at night, and the lighting is just far better in here because I have lights above, so I hope you don't mind me recording in here today. And this video is coming out a bit later than I had hoped because I ended up having plans after the special, so I apologize about that. It'll probably be coming up around midnight my time in my timeline. Thanks, Barry. But anyway, thanks for bearing with me, and it kind of worked out because I got to sit on this episode for a few hours, not in a weird way. But so yeah, Dimensions in Danger. A lot of people were kind of expecting it to be bad. My position was I was just kind of expecting to honestly enjoy it regardless because I don't have too high of expectations for crossovers because as I've mentioned I've been a little bit sick of them in a lot of ways. But honestly, I really enjoyed this episode. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. It was not perfect, but I enjoyed myself immensely, and for me personally, I could tell that there was a lot more love put into this episode than Legendary Battle. But you know, a lot of people, you know, first reactions were, oh, way better than Legendary Battle. Also, it's Power Rangers Day when I'm recording this, so I got my communicator on, represent. But, you know, I didn't mind Legendary Battle as much as some other people. I could do a whole video on that, again, because I didn't have high expectations, but I could just tell more care was put into this, is kind of the point of why I brought that up. And I enjoyed myself. Again, it wasn't perfect. It was definitely rushed. Before I watched this episode, I rewatched a couple episodes because it was also National Power Rangers Day. I rewatched Day of the Dumpster because I'm basic as hell. But also, then I rewatched Forever Red. I had time for one more episode. I'm like, you know what? I haven't watched Forever Red in a while. I've always enjoyed that episode, but I've always felt it was a bit messy, which is true. But I have to say, I do admire them for coming up with a fairly tight episode for the constraints they had. And it was really actually beneficial that I watched that episode basically minutes before Dimensions in Danger started because it reminded me a lot of that. They were constrained to 30 minutes or like 22 plus minutes depending on how long the commercials were. I didn't time it. I'm sorry. I didn't have my stopwatch. This doesn't even talk to Zordon. Zordon, are you there? He's not there. So they were constrained to it. And given that, I think they did a really good job of pulling it off. And there's already been shown to be deleted footage of a Tommy fight with like a broken helmet. So, and there's been talk of an extended cut. I'm definitely hoping we get an extended cut, definitely, for sure. But even setting that aside, my hopes for that, within the 22 plus minutes, I found it to be very enjoyable. I mean, I love that we set up those kind of sage, like those cloaked sages in the last episode of Super Ninja Steel. So then, you know, we revealed them at the beginning of this episode, or almost the beginning. You know what? Let's go back to the beginning of time. So, Rita gets revealed. No, I'm just kidding. But the beginning of the episode actually opens with Tommy, which was really neat, not only because it didn't just open with the Super Ninja Steel Rangers, but because I just watched Forever Red and I enjoyed how that didn't open with our current team. And I remember thinking when I was rewatching Forever Red, I'm like, I bet they won't do that this time. The times have changed. But we open with Tommy, go into the Dino Thunder house. Honestly, I felt like I was in like a weird, like, I don't know, like shopping or Design Network TV thing where I was getting excited about a house. I'm like, oh my god, it's Tommy's Dino Thunder house. Like, it's a weird thing to be excited about, but I loved that. We're at Tommy's house, he has a son, he's married, which is stuff that is probably neat for fans that are like, oh my god, he got married to somebody. But like, if you've been following the larger Rangerdom, you know that they're going to be doing the Legend of the Dragon comic by Kyle Higgins, and he has a son, and he's married to Kat. So that was such a cool tie-in. Like, it's small, and it's not like something you needed to know the news about, but if you did, it was extra neat. But we open with that. That was cool. Super Ninja Steel Rangers then get a call from these sages we established from the previous episode, which are revealed to be, as suspected, Wes. We got Gemma from the RPM universe and Coda from the Dino Charge universe. Again, super cool, one from each main universe. And it confirms also, based on the fact that the Rangers knew, I'm not sure how they knew exactly their real names, maybe some sort of Ranger wiki they get access to, but they knew who Wes was, they knew who Tommy was. So Ninja Steel is indeed in the main universe. I mentioned previously, both in videos and in comments, that like in the comics, they made it seem like Ninja Steel was part of the main timeline, but the Boom Comics timeline's also different, so we weren't 100% sure, but yeah, it's like 99.9% sure confirmed that the Ninja Steel series is in the main PR timeline. But really cool that they got one from each dimension. It was a good group. I kind of wish Gemma had some more of her little quirks because they had time for quotas. Quotas? Where did that come from? His little quirks? Quotas quirks. Coda's quirks, quotas. There we go. But I actually really enjoyed Coda. Like, it's weird. It was only a year ago, but I actually have kind of enjoyed like hearing we worked in a caveman line, his little introduction. But yeah, that was cool. One from each dimension. I'd love to hear the story behind how they came up with that group because you have Wes, who's like on the job. Like, this is Wes. He knows what's going on. And then you got like two of the quirkiest characters from RPM and Dino Charge. So I really hope for a comic story about that at some point. Not just because it'd be interesting to find out, but in general, whoever they picked. But Coda and Gemma specifically. But yeah, and I also liked that lots of people assumed, and we heard that it was going to focus on Wes and Tommy, and then maybe Kat was kind of assumed. And that was kind of true, but I like that Coda and Gemma were kind of part of that core group. I think it shook things up a little bit. So you have them going to find Tommy. They find out he got kidnapped and replicated into one of these robots for Lord Dravon, who basically does have a kind of watered down version of the Shattered Grid plot, and he's trying to throw these like mega arrows into the universe to break down the barriers between dimensions to take them over. And I've heard that actually they developed this before Shattered Grid. Who knows, you know, how that goes. I honestly don't necessarily think they copied off each other. I think it's totally possible that like Kyle Higgins and the team came up with this and they came up with this separately. But it doesn't really matter. But like, you can make all the jokes you want. It was kind of a watered down version of Shattered Grid, but I don't want to make it sound like I'm harping on them for copying it because they necessarily didn't. But it was kind of a basic plot in that way, kind of like Forever Red's was, but it worked. And some people complained about the Tommy stuff. Honestly, I mean, there is saturation of MMPR and Tommy, but Tommy still remains one of my favorite characters, to be honest, if I'm being honest with you. And I didn't mind it. It worked. And, you know, we find out that the other Rangers that are returning, like Rocky and Kat and Antonio and all of them, are all the ones currently being held. We get to the scene where from the preview is from, where the Rangers are in this universe called the Aniverse, which I didn't realize till somebody on Twitter pointed it out because of anniversary. I thought it was called the Antiverse, but it's called the Aniverse. Clever there. But they get rescued by Tommy in the Dino Thunder suit. They go rescue the other Rangers. We get some scenes of the Ninja Steel team just fighting on their own, which is repurposed. Well, I guess it is repurposed. Ninja, movie footage, which is fine. I hate to be that guy, but I was like, oh, I hate how much time we're spending with the Ninja Steel team just because it's like, we have such limited time with these veterans that I want to see them more. But the Ninja fight scene stuff was cool. I remember watching the Ninja fight movie, or the fight scenes in the movie, and thinking that they were cool. So I'm glad we got to see that. And they tied it in pretty well, but we did spend a little bit of time with them doing that while Tommy rescued the other Rangers with the others. And then we got to see Tommy face off against Robo-Tommy. And we got the reveal of the Master Morpher. The Master Morpher is like basically a version of the MMPR Morpher in look that allows Tommy to switch between most of his main forms as far as we know. He went to Zeo Ranger 5, White Ranger, Green Ranger, obviously we saw Black Ranger. No Red Turbo, so it's not clear whether he has it. Maybe he was just being respectful because TJ was there. Who knows? But we got kind of news about that. And then, like, we saw some pictures from set of him using it. It was like, oh, that's just the Green Ranger Morpher. Like, so it was kind of unclear, but it's confirmed he has what's called the Master Morpher, because when he's arguing with his Robo-self, he's like, you don't even have a Master Morpher. So that's interesting. Yes, it's kind of a Deus Ex Machina explanation, and we don't get any, like, further things about it, like, where did he get it, how does he have it, all that stuff. That's the same question. But that's something that I could definitely see being explored in the comic. Whether it's in his solo run or an annual, that would be awesome to explore in a comic, and I could totally see it being done. But even setting the comic aside, and if we didn't get any further explanation, even something on that level makes me happy, because like in Legendary Battle that bothered me. I'm like, why are you using green? It makes no sense. You know, you move past that. But if we have that, it's simple enough. Yeah, it leaves it a little vague, but there is an explanation there. I thought it was super cool. Like, it's basically the gold Morpher with like some different stickers and stuff and sort of Power Coin-esque things in there, but it was cool. I liked it a lot. Definitely hope it's explored in the comic. I think it was neat, especially for Tommy's character. It makes sense. It was really neat. Then we get like final battle-y stuff. Unfortunately, there was no proper Morphin roll call, which Unfortunately, I am part of that shallow fan group where I wanted to see that, especially since I was rewatching some clips from Once a Ranger this week, and I'm like, that's really neat that they went in and made a morphing sequence for Adam and red sequence for Bridge. I mean, it wasn't like as high a production value as some of the others, but they made it. So, I mean, I didn't expect new morphing calls, but even if we recycled them like Forever Red, but it's whatever. I don't know if it would be in the extended version. And we got like the fight scenes and stuff. I'm definitely hoping for some extended fight scenes. I was hoping for some more HD footage of the White Ranger suit from Dino Thunder because it's my favorite. I feel like we didn't get to see enough of that. I feel like there's probably something in there, and I hope we see that in the extended cut, some cool pairings and stunts and stuff like that. But honestly, the biggest shocker of the episode for me was near the end, where Draven's about to fire the final arrow, and they're like, oh my god, what do we do? And then Cole shows up and he's like, well, Force Rider. I'm like, how'd you get out of jail? No. But Tommy's like, I can do this, and he uses the Falcon Zord. I did not expect that at all, because it reminded me of like when the Wild Force Rider showed up, and you know, there was like all this stuff behind the scenes about how there was supposed to be a Zord scene originally in Forever Red, and he used the Falcon Zord. It was kind of like, you know, lower level CG, but it was pretty exciting because I wasn't expecting it. And I've always liked the Falcon Zord. I was like, ah, Falcon Zord. That was literally me. Like, I'm not usually excited, but I was like, oh my god. Like, if I would have been filming myself, it was a visible reaction, both just from the surprise and kind of the, you know, the fanning out. It was neat. It was cool. He stopped it with that. We get a nice little scene at the end of the whole group together. Apparently something I didn't catch was Tommy and Kat holding hands, because I remember thinking when the episode ended, like, oh, there was nothing to indicate that Tommy and Kat were together, but apparently there was. There also apparently, like, in Shattered Grid 25, that cracked part during the Time Force time ties into this, which is really cool, and also the little dimensional remotes they had was in an issue, so that's really cool connective tissue detail. Again, hoping for an extended cut that's like 45 minutes or so. This would have been great as an hour, but even 45 minutes would make me happy because based on what I've heard and just from seeing it, it feels like there'll be some great scenes. Bit of a missed opportunity. I hope there's a deleted scene that have the brothers, the Sudaso brothers together. I think that would be awesome to see. I was like selfishly wishing, like a lot of people, for Trent to call Tommy Dr. O. So I'm kind of hoping for more of those scenes. Like, yeah, sure. I'm hoping there's some more cool fight scenes, pairings and stuff, but I'm more so hoping for the interaction scenes. And there's like lines between them that, just like in Forever Red, like dialogue that kind of vaguely refers to events we don't see that happen between the veteran Rangers when we're watching these main seasons. And I would love, again, to see that explored in the comic. I love that there's an outlet now where I can say, yeah, put that there, because it would be a pipe dream to be like, oh, it'd be cool for them to do a special where we see the veteran Rangers. Like, that would never happen, but I would love to see the comic explore some of the stuff because there's so much rich stuff for it. But anyway, I've gone on about 15 minutes about this, and I'm so sorry about that. I usually try to keep these episode reviews 10 minutes, but there was a lot to talk about. And again, just to circle this back around, this was not perfect. It was a little bit rushed, a little bit messy, but I had a really good time with it. Again, I could tell there was put more love into it. Just hearing that Tommy still lives in Reefside and has that house and the little potential connections to the solo comic, just, there was lots of little details like that I really appreciated. Again, not perfect, but I had fun. And, you know, sometimes you just have to have that, you know, and I'm known for being overly critical, and sometimes I think we should be, but other times it's nice just to have something to enjoy, and I'm hoping that part of this love that I felt put into it is put into Beast Morphers and into the future. Overall, for my personal enjoyment, I would give it an 8. Objectively, probably somewhere around a 7 or 7.5, but I did enjoy it. Again, love to see an extended cut. I'd love to be back talking about this for an extended cut, and again, put more of this love into the future. It was a really nice first Power Rangers day. Great, like, kind of end cap to it was this really fun special. I know there's some people that probably don't feel the same, but I enjoyed it. It felt really nice to be that enthused about Power Rangers. I haven't been that enthused about Power Rangers since early Dino Charge. Anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, don't forget to climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get the notifications for all my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.